Just working with our company, you're going to get to work with a lot of bright individuals.
Everyone is open and ready to help you, and definitely big on advocating for making sure that you succeed and reach your potential.
Everyone's goal is the same, to make the best products that we can for our clients and make sure that it is everything and more that it could be.
What's kept me here? Our culture. We're genuinely a very great group of people. Everyone's just always willing to lend a hand.
When I have a suggestion or a concern and I voice it, leadership actually hears me.
As a consultancy, every person has a role and has something to bring to the table. There's just a lot of opportunities here if you're up for the challenge.
Jump on board, be part of the fun ride, because we're going places.
Can't get to a computer? Then we've got you covered. Just go to the IndianaSRN app and stay up to date with all of your favorite teams. You can watch live coverage or relive the experience with our on-demand service.
You're good at making big announcements. We're good at your insurance.
Start with Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance, online, over the phone, or in person, and stop knocking on wood.
From warehousing to transportation and everything in between, Piper Logistics does it all. Centrally located, Piper Logistics has 2 warehouses in Indianapolis and a warehouse in Cincinnati, Ohio. Piper Logistics houses over 1 million square feet. Along with our transportation department, we can provide service to half the United States markets.
Aspen Creek Grill, we are a from-scratch concept with comfort fresh food. You can expect a world-class experience on a great budget. We've got incredible specials, great service. Today's dish that we're going to highlight is going to be our Aspen Blue Sirloin. It is, again, our premium Black Angus certified beef, and we top that with the blue cheese crust. Again, everything that we do here is made from scratch, and it's no different from our steaks. We hand cut all our steaks in-house. So our team back there is just an incredible team. Everything that they do, they take so much pride in. They put a little bit of themselves into everything that they do over here, especially since it is a made from scratch concept. We want everybody to come, visit us, enjoy some great food with some great service. Bring your friends, bring your family, come have some great food, have a great time with us with some of the best comfort scratch food.
Thinking about what to do after high school? Consider a career with Boilermakers Local 374. As a Boilermaker apprentice, you'll earn while you learn. We offer excellent wages and benefits, and as part of our no-cost hands-on apprenticeship program, you'll learn from the best in state-of-the-art training centers and on the job. Become a union Boilermaker and get on your way to a great career. Find out more, visit www.local374.org or call 219-845-1000.
Bertner Electric Incorporated provides professional commercial electrical contractor services to Indianapolis and surrounding communities. Locally owned and operated for over 30 years, our knowledge and experience make us the perfect choice for all your commercial electrical contractor needs. Contact us today.
Thanks to you. Standing with us. You are truly making a difference in the lives of our neighbors in need.
Can't make it to the game? We've got your back. Just go to www.IndianaSRN.org and tune in to all of the live action, or go to our on-demand service and relive your favorite moments.
Sports fans, welcome back to Game Time, to pure spirit, to pure sport. Welcome back to high school sports.
Fans, I'm IHSA Commissioner Paul Knighty, and I just want to say, welcome back.
This is Game Time. This is Indiana high school sports. This is your IHSAA.
Hey, Indiana, let's clear the air about vaping. Glue, rat poison, paint. We all know these products contain poisons like formaldehyde, arsenic, and lead. And these are just a few of the chemicals you'll find in e-cigarette vapor. Let's clear the air, Indiana. Don't puff this stuff. Visit don'tpuffthisstuff.com to join the fight and spread the word.
Calling officials cheaters or corrupt, it's not a game.
Insulting referees, it's not a game.
Threatening officials, it's not a game.
Berating young umpires, learning the ropes, it's not a game.
Violent language in the stands, it's not a game.
Verbal abuse from the sideline, it's not a game.
Screaming at a referee in the parking lot, it's not a game.
Wet and rainy, a perfect night for semifinals in the Heartland Conference. Rose-Hulman and Anderson, a chance to go to the Heartland Conference Championship on the line. Let's thank our sponsors, starting with Reynolds Farm Equipment. Reynolds Farm Equipment is a leading equipment dealer since 1955. Passion to care, delivering care with more than 24 years of experience. Boilermaker Local 374. Boilermakers Local 374 represents highly skilled, highly motivated workers in field construction and metal fabrication throughout the state of Indiana. Wheeler Mission. For over 125 years, Wheeler Mission has been a pillar in the Indianapolis community. Bertner Electric, your trusted electrician partner since 1986. Morales Group. We're in business to create a better future for you and your family. And IndianaSRN sports page. Follow the sports page every day with update news from coast to coast. Log on at IndianaSRN.org and click on our tab. Rose-Hulman earned the #1 seed Drumstick Dash 2024. Move your feet so others can eat. Rose-Hulman earned the #1 seed in the HCAC tournament and a first-round bye with an 8-0-1 record in conference play, and now has the honor of squaring off against the Anderson Ravens, who fought their way past Berea in a physical quarterfinal duel. We thank you for being a part of our RHIT.TV broadcast today. I'm Sam Cinder, standing alongside Cruz Martin. And Cruz, Rose-Hulman has avoided adversity for the majority of the season. They've gotten past opposition, but we know the playoffs bring another level of intensity and grit. What must Rose-Hulman do to avoid an upset at the hands of Anderson today?
They're going to have to come out strong. That's what's made this team so good all season long. They get out ahead early on, and then they are able to fend off whoever it is that they be playing, in this case tonight, Anderson. It is worth mentioning, over the last 7 games, Rose-Hulman has failed to give up a goal except for 1 game, and that was against this very Anderson team earlier this season.
You mentioned their last matchup, October 23rd. The goal for Eli Miller in the 36th minute. Anderson responded. Dalton Grubbs, he's been their main contributor, 49th minute, and then Rose-Hulman, they took the lead. Their freshman star, Ryan Shapiro, they outshot them 10-5 and outcornered them. Just 3 corners in the whole game, 2-1. But I want to stay focused on Rose-Hulman and those freshmen. We mentioned them. We look at Eli Miller, Ryan Shapiro, Cameron Hanna, really. And they're so freshman dominant. But do you see that as possibly something that could give them trouble in a game of this magnitude?
I would say not. The reason I say that is because they already have pretty much a full regular season of experience under their belt. Now, obviously, the postseason is going to bring a different kind of monster around, but if there's any group of young kids out there who can handle it, it's going to be this group right here. They've accounted for 19 of the team's 31 goals this year, just a hair under 50% of the team's total points. I mean, these guys, even though they're young, they're seasoned. They've been around the block before in other leagues coming up, and so I have a lot of confidence in what Rose-Hulman can do tonight, and I think Anderson knows that as well.
That's an incredible number, that goal proportion that you mentioned. And half of the roster is comprised of freshmen. As we hear the rain just pounding down, it is really coming down here at Rose-Hulman. And we want to turn our attention over to Anderson now. They've had a more difficult path than Rose-Hulman, a more gritty path to get to this point. They had to take Berea down twice in a row, the final game of the regular season, and then the first game, the quarterfinal matchup. Talk about their pathway here and what they've earned, what they can take from that in an effort to defeat Rose-Hulman.
Well, I think they learned that they have grit, and that's one of the biggest things for a team, especially whenever you're struggling throughout the regular season. Not that Anderson was struggling to a great extent, but they were able to find their identity, and their identity is in grit. They're a gritty team. You saw that in the last 2 wins against Berea to end the season. They have a great opportunity in front of them. The lights are on. The rain's pounding down. This is going to be a night where memories are going to be made, Sam.
And you mentioned the rain, and you talk about the physicality of Anderson. In that last game against Berea, we talked about 19 fouls. Let's take a quick break for the anthem.
We encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, IndianaSRN. Hit the bell to get notifications for upcoming games and more. Watch as many games as you want, as many times as you want.
A good engineer, a good mathematician, a good scientist can identify problems.
But in order to be a great
scientist or engineer, you've got to have curiosity and you've got to have creativity, and that's what's going to set you apart.
You can't teach curiosity. You just need to encourage your students to be curious. Curious in anything that they do. Curious so that it brings out the innovations, the new ideas.
575 of them from 40 states and 19 countries, with a record-breaking number of applications. Did you forget about Rose's outstanding class of 2023 and how 99% of the graduates have landed a position in their dream fields, graduate school, or the military?
The renovations to Munch Hall are finally complete, so I'm sure he'll have plenty to eat at the updated Munch Cafe by the new Living Mall.
We just broke ground on a new residence hall that will be ready for fall 2025.
We celebrated a record-breaking homecoming with more than 2,000 alumni, students, and friends commemorating the 100th anniversary of the bonfire with our first ever drone show. We also welcomed 267 employers for our fall career fair. And perhaps the greatest gift of all, the Wall Street Journal named us one of the top 20 best colleges in America, and U.S. News & World Report named us the #1 undergraduate engineering college. You can be a little old for a lot of things, but you're never too old or too far away for Rose-Hulman. 2023 was a year of adventurous journeys, of coming together, of growth. No matter how far away you roam this holiday season, you will never be truly alone as long as Rose is your home.
We encourage you to follow us on Twitter at IndianaSRN. Find upcoming games, video highlights, and much more. Follow us now at IndianaSRN.
We welcome you back here on RHIT.TV. Semi-final matchup in the Heartland Conference, the Anderson Ravens and the Rose-Hulman Fighting Engineers. Right before break, Cruz, we were talking about the physicality of Anderson. 17 fouls against Berea as they got past them. And on this wet, this rainy game with some slippery surface, can the rain and the physicality of Anderson be a benefit to them?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you get to the postseason, obviously you're fighting for your season's life. And so, obviously there's going to be more at stake. There's going to be a lot more physicality and in turn a lot more penalties called. I mean, you're talking about the last game Anderson had against Berea, 17 fouls. I believe you said 7 yellow cards in that game. So the game's obviously going to get more physical. Now the slick turf is also going to be something else to take into consideration. Turf is already slick enough as it is. You add in the water content and players are going to be slipping and sliding. Whichever team can control themselves on the turf, I think this will be more of an advantage to Rose-Hulman because obviously this is their home field. But whichever team can control themselves and keep themselves upright on the pitch tonight, I think we'll have a better opportunity at moving on in the tournament.
Cruz, we talked about Dalton Grubbs, the star, you could say, for Anderson. They're without one of their other stars, Jordan Bossman, but for Grubbs, does it fall on his shoulders, or can it be more of a team effort? Obviously, it's a team sport, but does it become more of a team effort, or is it going to be him to get past Rose-Hulman today?
Well, I mean, it's hard to see. You have to see how the game plays out, obviously, but he's going to be one of the main culprits they're going to be looking for. I think it would be fair to say that. I mean, he's accounted for 13 of the team's 60 points up to this point in the year. That's, I believe, if my math isn't wrong, almost a quarter of their points. And so I don't think it's unreasonable to think that. And you also have to throw in Emmett Kindler as well. He's accounted, both of those two guys have accounted for 24 of the team's 60 points on the year. But again, you have to see how the game plays out. Now, that does restrict the amount of options that Anderson can go to, and therefore it makes it a little bit easier for Rose-Hulman to cover Anderson. I think that's going to be a problem that Anderson will face. We'll see how they respond to that problem, though.
Anderson's head coach, Scott Fridley, this is his 31st season. He has really done a good job in helping Anderson become the team they are, implement into their players. They do a trip 10 times. They've gone to Europe, a European trip, so he's really all about his players. And for Rose-Hulman, it is Sean Hellawell. This is his 16th season. He's been really dominant. 200 wins, looking for his 201st victory today.
Yeah, this is a great challenge, I'm going to say, for Anderson. They have an opportunity to take on a team that they had a competitive match with earlier this year, the now 2024 regular season champions in the HCAC and Rose-Hulman. They have a chance to knock them off on their own field. I mean, the lights are on, the rain is pounding down right now, the wind's whipping around. I mean, I've said it already, but this is going to be a night that these kids are going to remember regardless of what the outcome is like.
Rose-Hulman has won 5 out of the past 6 regular season championships in the Heartland Conference. They've won back-to-back tournament championships, looking to get to their 3rd tournament with a win today over the Anderson Ravens. Teams huddled up, just a few seconds really before we're going to kick off here.
This will be the last calm before the storm, if you will, for both of these teams. One final opportunity for these guys to get their minds right, because they know they're going to have two 45-minute wars upcoming, and obviously a great opportunity in front of each of these programs. Sam, I'm excited to see how it plays out.
Cruz, I don't think there's any calm to this storm.
It's been storming here for the last couple of hours.
There is no calm.
We got to give credit to our crew, especially Chuck Levine, who's off to our right producing tonight, who's got the bags over the equipment and everything tonight, keeping everything dry and running for us.
Absolutely. Quick goalkeeper matchup. Braden Kennedy is in goal for Anderson, and John Biederstedt in goal for Rose-Hulman. And there we go. 90 minutes for one of the two Heartland Conference tournament champion teams will be figured out.
You know, Sam, I think that the rain is going to play a factor in the intensity of this game as well. When you're already wet coming in, you're playing in the elements, I feel like that's just only going to boost the aggressiveness in these players. You can already see it on the faces of many of them. You know, they know what they're going to have to play through. Well, which team is going to be more mentally tough tonight? That's my question.
Rose-Hulman looking for Cameron Hanna. Now they'll have a throw-in the Anderson defensive third. It's Landon Kangas to throw it in. He's one of the many freshmen that played a key role. Are cutting in to the 18, across inward. And Harderson on the other side. It's deflected. Already a little more aggression from Rose-Hulman. We talk so much about how they're a defensive team, but in this matchup, Anderson, you look, they've scored 28 goals, but 13 of those 28 came against Manchester. So really, they're not as offensive as it looks on paper. They're more of a defensive team. Two defensive teams here. Do you expect them to stay true to themselves or try to push the envelope?
I think they'll probably stay true to themselves. Most good teams don't try to change their identity, especially late in the season. I think these teams are going to rely on exactly what they've relied on all year, which is defense. And, you know, I think that you can give the edge, at least offensively speaking, to this Rose-Hulman team. But I'm not expecting a high-scoring game between either one of these teams. I'm expecting probably a one-goal difference in the final score, maybe 1-2 goals max.
It was one goal earlier in October. 2-1, Rose-Hulman took victory. You mentioned this in the open. It was the only goal in the last 7 games that Rose-Hulman has conceded. So Anderson, they figured something out in that game, at least momentarily. It was Grubbs who put it in the back of the net. Obviously a key member for them. We'll see how often they try to get him involved. Kangas possesses along the sideline. And now the Fighting Engineers play it back out. Something cooking here. Salinas tries to get it in to Hanna. And they still possess. It's Kangas across back over the middle and a slip. That's something to keep an eye on with this rain. Ryan Shapiro's the guy that slipped. And now Harderson, and that's out. Will be a goal kick.
You know, you mentioned that slick turf right there. Shapiro goes down. The pass was behind him. Under normal conditions, I think Shapiro could have cut his way back and been able to control that ball. But like you said, the slick turf not allowing him to turn on a point right there. We mentioned whoever can manage that slick turf the best, I would say at least tonight has the best opportunity to win this game.
And turf already is somewhat of a slick substance. Played in. Cameron Hanna, he's ahead of everyone. Can't handle it though, and swept up by Kennedy.
Yeah, it looked like he was trying to avoid an offsides penalty right there. It was going to be awfully close.
Hanna almost able to intercept that. Kicked out of play, and an early corner for Rose-Hulman.
Yeah, and Braden Kennedy was just a step or two out of position to try to catch that ball that was put back towards him by the defender. And a mistake for Anderson allows Rose-Hulman to get that first corner kick of the game. Now their defense is really going to have to stand strong, Sam.
It's Oliver Fila with the corner. A good one, but well defended by Anderson. And Ryan Shapiro's there to pick it up for the Fighting Engineers. You know, Cruz, couple weeks ago, it was Julius Salinas on the corners. They swept it up. It's Fila now. Deflected shot. And it's booted out by the defensive third of Anderson. Offside. And Anderson will avoid that threat for now.
And we were talking about the switch over on the corner kicks. There can be multiple reasons for that. Give an opponent maybe a different look. But maybe they found something that they like with Fila over there on the corners instead of Salinas. Again, teams obviously won't change their identity, but they can change things here or there, tinker around, and try to find the best fit for them going forward.
This is Fila's 9th start of the season. Has played in all 17.
One thing that Rose-Hulman is very good at doing, Sam, is keeping possession of the ball offensively. And so far, guess who's had a majority of the possession? Obviously we're only 5 minutes into this game, but it's been almost exclusively Rose-Hulman offensively. That's one of the reasons why they are so good. It's not as though they're obviously putting up a lot of shots, but more so they're not allowing their opponents to get many opportunities on the goal.
And we mentioned this a couple weeks ago. Part of being a good defense, the defensive stats are your offense. If you're going to possess the ball for the majority of the match, your defense is not going to be in a compromised position.
That's exactly right. And that's why Rose-Hulman has had so much success this year, is because they've been able to keep a majority of the possession. Now, if Anderson's able to flip that script tonight, they'll have a really good shot, but so far hasn't looked good for the Ravens.
There's Salinas dispossessing an Anderson midfielder. They get it to Shapiro on the far side. He's working and fires a long shot. It's no good. Wide left, and a goal kick for Kennedy.
That's going to be really important for Anderson, especially when they are in their own defending third and in the middle third, to take care of the ball. They have to value the possession as they're trying to move the ball up the field. There's one reason why Rose-Hulman doesn't allow their opponents to have a lot of possession is because they get those takeaways in their own attacking third, in that middle third. They don't allow their opposition to get set offensively.
You are spot on with that. And there's Fila. He heads it out. It's a throw-in for Anderson. Working tight along the sideline, trying to get it over to Grubbs, it looks like.
Now this is a good sign right here for Anderson, though. Their first real opportunity inside their own attacking third. So now the Ravens going to get an opportunity to put a shot. Another thing that Anderson needs to try to keep close is that shot discrepancy tonight. It's one thing that Rose-Hulman is also very good at having control over.
Long cross in. And now it's Hannah working with Shapiro. They're not on the same page, though. It's deflected. And that opportunity for Anderson just quickly evaporates. That's what Rose-Hulman's defense is able to do.
And they come at you hard as well. You can see right there as Anderson was in their own defending third. Rose-Hulman was coming at them hard, trying to get that takeaway as soon as they could. Trying to put pressure on Anderson, making them flip sides of the field. Relatively speaking, of course, talking about offense and defense. Trying to keep their head on a swivel and trying to keep Anderson off balance.
Cruz, something underrated about applying pressure, both offensively and defensively, is it speeds up the opponent. And when you force your opponents to make quick decisions, oftentimes that is when you'll see mistakes and errors.
And especially if you don't practice that way as well. When you have a team that plays fast, obviously it's because they practice fast. And when you're playing against a team that doesn't practice that, obviously they're going to make mistakes because they're not seasoned to handle situations like that. Especially on a night like this where you also have to deal with not only the pressure of the HCAC tournament, but also the elements that these teams are playing in as well. It's just a lot to handle. Again, that's why it depends on which team will be mentally tougher tonight.
Let's thank one of our sponsors here on RHIT.TV. Officially Human. Our mission is to restore respect to game officials and recognize them as authorities on the fields and courts. Do your part. Practice good sportsmanship. If we don't have officials, we can't play. So, Cruz, 10 minutes in here, what have you liked most about what Anderson's done defensively to avoid Rose-Hulman's pressure?
Well, they've been right in all the passing gaps.
Long cross in, and that is onside. It's Kindler, and quickly taken away and booted out of play. A throw-in for Anderson.
It was a good recovery for Rose-Hulman, a bad touch there for Anderson. I mean, they've been in all the passing lanes so far today. They have an opportunity to get something going offensively. That's what I haven't liked so far. They haven't been able to control the time of possession up to this point, which is something that Rose-Hulman has done a very good job of so far tonight.
It's Brenton Hall to throw it in. A long throw. Gets it into the 18. Bouncing around there. Some chaos, almost something for Anderson. And again, booted away. Cameron Hanna is able to possess, and he'll kick it out past midfield for a throw-in.
A smart play by Cam Hanna right there. Knew he had nothing productive going. He trusts his defense enough to get the ball back. Wisely kicked it out of bounds.
Just barely out. It was Gillig trying to keep it in.
Yeah, hovered right over that touchline right there. Just a half second too late. That's why Cam Hanna kicked that ball out of bounds, though, is because he knew his defense had an opportunity to get the ball back, and he trusted them enough to be able to do that in a quick manner. Surprise, surprise. And that's what happened.
And you speak to trust. How much confidence does that give you to be more aggressive when you know your defense is behind you?
That gives you all the confidence in the world. I mean, when you know that you've got 10 other guys behind you defensively, I mean, you know, it allows you to be more aggressive, especially when you're on the same page, too. You know each other's defensive tendencies, and you read the scouting report, too, which is always something that you want to take note of. You know, gives you all the confidence in the world to go out and be a little bit more aggressive because you know your teammates are going to have your back.
Head of steam for Pole. And Rose-Hulman still with it. It's Salinas. He gets it to Kangas. He's got some space. And he'll go back to Salinas. Fila. Nice pass in to Cameron Hanna. In the 18. Now some pressure defensively from Anderson. Salinas long cross in. And it's headed out. Anderson's defensive third stands up again.
And it looked like Hanna had a mistouch on that pass onto the inside. And the ball's going to be slick. His cleats are going to be slick. The turf's going to be slick. It looked like his foot just slipped over the top of the ball, forced him to retreat. Then he had that long cross, and Anderson was able to recover defensively.
And you can see Salinas and Cameron Hanna not on the same page there talking about it. It's not often that Rose-Hulman has some miscommunication, some errors like that.
Yeah, and you know, obviously with the wet surfaces, again, those margin of errors are going to be cut that much slimmer. And so it's really imperative that both of these teams be on the same page so that way you can avoid miscues like that, which would normally under dry conditions cost you a possession, but in this case tonight that happens to be the case.
Throw in for Anderson in their own third. And we'll see how much Rose-Hulman wants to press here. These opportunities, even though Anderson possesses, can be takeaway chances in the opponent's third. These can be huge. Force an error. It can be the difference in a such tightly contested game as this one is.
Well, you can see Anderson was able to push them back, but we've already seen tonight Rose-Hulman be very aggressive in their own attacking third defensively, because they know they can get quick takeaways on some of those touches that Anderson has put out there. I mean, they've been doing it all season long against, you know, regardless of the opponent. And again, Sam, time of possession is a very important thing to look at. When we think about the amount of times that Rose-Hulman has had the ball through these first 14 minutes or so in their attacking third compared to Anderson in their attacking third. You know, eventually you give Rose-Hulman that many opportunities, even though they haven't gotten many shots up, eventually one's going to fall through.
And you can say that, but you also have to look. Just one shot for Rose-Hulman to this point. In the shots column, it's 1-0.
And that's going to be imperative for Anderson to keep as thin a margin as they can in that shot discrepancy. Again, the more opportunities you can get and the less opportunities you can give Rose-Hulman, obviously better.
A slip, and Anderson's taking it away. A chance there. Now they'll slow down. Looked like they had a 2-on-1, but we'll slow it down, try to make the most of this opportunity. Again, the slip is what could play difference in this match. Long shot, and Biederstedt, one bounce, easy for him.
Slick turf, Sam. We've been talking about it all night up to this point. Again, it's already come into play a couple of times, and it nearly cost Rose-Hulman right there. Good opportunity for Anderson, even though nothing really materialized, and at least allowed them to be a little bit more aggressive offensively, build their confidence in that attacking third.
And that's why in this match, the pressure, forcing someone to slip like that. Another shot here, Anderson. And yes, he can get there. It's Winton working on the near sideline. Cuts in and falls down, but still able to keep control. Off the foot, just nearly tipped by a Rose-Hulman defender. It's Anderson ball.
Listen to this Anderson bench off to our left as well. They're getting fired up. It was really good handle right there from Cohen Winton. Kept slipping on the turf, but was able to hang on to the ball between two Rose-Hulman defenders. Really impressive dribbling skills right there.
Throw into the 18, and again, Rose-Hulman is just right there.
Now we'll see, Sam, how long this lasts, but Anderson right now in control of the possession. And this is something they haven't had a lot of experience with, even though the game is still young. See how long they can keep their ball on this half of the field. Maybe an opportunity to get some opportunities.
Cross well defended by Creek, and he'll boot it high up into the air. Almost there for Hannah, but Anderson, that back line is held tough.
Yeah, they sure have, and you got to give Anderson credit. Obviously a long way to go, but so far both of these teams going right back and forth with each other. Mainly Rose-Hulman's offense going back and forth with the Anderson defense.
Fila, chance for Ryan Shapiro. Some good ball moves inside, and looking for Cameron Hannah. Too tough. Too much velocity, it looked like, on that pass.
Yeah, Hannah didn't look ready for it. That was a really good opportunity materializing for Rose-Hulman.
And almost another takeaway. You got to love the intensity that Anderson's playing with.
Anderson was winning a foul right there, but they aren't going to get it.
And now looking for Kangas. He's onside, will possess. Shapiro. And taken away. And now, yes, offsides.
There have been a couple of those already called tonight on Rose-Hulman.
We thank Morales Group Staffing. We're in a business to create a better future for you, for your family, and for the community we share. We can match you with the right career or hire the right candidate for your company. Call us today, 317-472-7600.
Now, this is something that Rose-Hulman hasn't done a lot of this season, which is fighting from behind.
It's just one shot that can be the difference in a game like this. And
you're still okay. Very good.
We welcome you back on RHIT.TV. We apologize for the technical difficulties. We are back. You just missed an epic goal by Anderson's Cohen Winton. It was a chaotic sequence that just was deflected by a couple Rose-Hulman defenders. They are up 1-0 with just about 7 minutes remaining in this first half. Cruz, we've talked about all the intensity in this one. Very defensive, just 4 shots for Rose-Hulman, 3 for Anderson, but one of those 3 for the Ravens is the one that counts.
Yeah, exactly, and what we were talking about as we were off the air was You know, obviously the time of possession was going to be important early on. It was Rose-Hulman in the first third of this game or so. The second third came around, and it was really back and forth, honestly, between these two teams. And since the 15-minute mark, Anderson has really put the pedal to the metal. You know, they've had all 3 of their shots come since the 15-minute mark. They've had a couple of corner opportunities, and eventually one was able to fall through. Give credit to Code Witten. It was a odd play where the ball was deflected, and it just hung in the box a little bit long enough for Witten to put a leg on it. And this is something that Rose-Hulman hasn't had to do a lot this year, try to fight from behind. And we'll see how the Fighting Engineers try to take advantage of that situation.
So, Cruz, you mentioned they're rarely in a spot like this where Rose-Hulman is trailing. How do they respond? What does the MO of their team become?
You're going to have to be even more aggressive. It starts on the defensive end, and then obviously you have to turn that into offense.
Trying to be aggressive here, Shapiro. Eli Miller inside the 18. There's a shot. Just wide. Good look there for Eli Miller.
He was trying to bend it. You could see it, that right to left bend right there. Maybe off by a foot, maybe 2. And it was close. And you're going to see a lot more of that from Rose-Hulman, especially now that they're in this 1-0 deficit.
And that's what I thought. Something was dropped on the field. Not sure what it was. It was just given to Landon Kangas. So it's in his sock right now.
It looked like it might have been a shin guard potentially that came out of his sock.
So it's in its appropriate place now.
We don't know what it was, but that would be my best guess.
And you can see it, the attitude of Anderson, they're just beaming at this point. They feel a different level of confidence. They came in confident. They played up to the level of Rose-Hulman, and now this game is very winnable for them.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you're in the driver's seat, but now Rose-Hulman's going to be very aggressive down the stretch of this game, or at least until they find themselves in a position that they like, which is more than likely not going to happen until Rose-Hulman takes the lead, if that does happen. And so for Anderson, working from ahead is probably going to be even harder than it would have been if they were either down or tied. But if you're Anderson and you have a lead going into the locker room, you've got to be feeling great about yourself. Obviously a long way to go.
Ooh, there's a slip and right into the netting there. That's gotta hurt.
It was Boris Seto who went crashing into the net, I believe. Actually, my bad. That was Braxton Brewer.
So a corner for Rose-Hulman. High arcer. And the header tipped up. I mean, Kennedy, he's had a half.
Got his hand on it, tipped it off of the crossbar. I mean, he can't get much closer than that.
Well, let me ask you, it's going to be a goal kick, so maybe he didn't touch it. It just went off the crossbar.
It did go off the crossbar. That's obvious. And yeah, you're right. If it's a goal kick, then that means he didn't touch it. Nonetheless, though, I mean, look how close that was, and look at the attitude coming off the field from Weinman. Right off to our left. I don't know if you could see him, but you could definitely hear him. And that's the entire memo coming from this Anderson sideline.
And how can that not fire you up?
You don't think these two teams want to win this game?
And check out the vocality between the two sidelines. Anderson screaming their heads off. Rose-Hulman, I'm not going to call them dejected yet, but a little more serious is the tone.
Well, obviously you're not going to be happy when you're in a 1-0 hole, especially when you've had the season like you've had with Rose-Hulman going undefeated in HCAC play this year. Nonetheless, both of these teams know what's at stake, and if there's any team that could have an opportunity to mount a comeback this afternoon, it would be this Rose-Hulman team. They've got the firepower, even though they are youthful.
When the opposition has scored first, Rose-Hulman has only won one game this season. They have won every game that they have scored first.
Something to take note of going forward. Again, this is not uncharted territory, but definitely unfamiliar territory for this Rose-Hulman team.
We thank Boilermaker Local 374. Boilermakers Local 374 represents highly skilled, highly motivated workers in field construction and metal fabrication throughout the state of Indiana. When you need a safe, dependable workforce for a new build, an upgrade, or facility maintenance, you can count on Boilermakers Union Local 374 to do your job right the first time. And Cruz on the other side with Anderson. Just a minute 20 to go in this first half. Obviously, you're feeling very good, but how does this change or not change your style of play?
I don't think it needs to change anything because here's the thing. Whenever you're up, some teams tend to play a little bit more conservatively, which allows them to get pushed around a little bit more. And with a team like Rose-Hulman who plays so aggressive on both sides of the ball, that's exactly what you can't allow. So if you're Anderson, you can't switch up your attack. You have to stay consistent, ride the course, and, not change anything. Stay aggressive, and maybe even give yourself some insurance on top of that. That couldn't hurt, I'm sure.
Definitely couldn't hurt. Just 40 seconds remaining in this first half. Throw in for Anderson. It was just felt like 10 minutes ago we were saying Anderson without a shot. They now have 4 of them. Just trailing by 2 shots, obviously leading the all-important goal column 1-0.
And if you're Rose-Hulman, you're going to have to take a serious look at yourselves in the mirror in the locker room because, you're going to have to fight back. But at the same time, this team knows their identity. They know what they are capable of.
And you're right. There has to be a confidence in the Rose-Hulman locker room saying, well, we know what we've done all season. We can certainly do it in the second half as well. That does it here in the first half. Anderson, how about a shocker? They're up 1-0, an epic goal by Winton. Cohen Winton, his first of the season. And Cruz, other than the goal, what are your takeaways?
Well, obviously it was a tale of 3 portions at the first half. The first third of the half, it was Rose-Hulman who was the aggressor. They were getting all their opportunities that they were looking for. Middle third of that half, it was a little bit back and forth, and then Anderson took over for those last 15 minutes. They were able to capitalize on their opportunity, and Rose-Hulman wasn't able to capitalize yet, and I think that's where we're at.
Let's thank our sponsors, starting with Passion to Care, delivering care with more than 24 years of experience. As a prestige healthcare company, Passion to Care is driven by decades of experience and a drive to go above and beyond. Call us today at 317-537-1811. Make a difference. Help us put more student athletes on TV by logging on to IndianaSRN.org, directing your donation to a specific school, or hit the donate button. More games, more opportunity for our kids. IndianaSRN, where you always have a front row seat. Piper Logistics. For more than 2 decades, the seasoned professionals at Piper Logistics have consistently been the trusted allies for all your inventory management, warehousing fulfillment, and transportation needs. We stand as your comprehensive logistics partner. Ride with us. Call us today, 317-396-1023. And Dynamark. Looking to elevate your brand? Choose Dynamark, your local one-stop shop for all your print, signs, promo products, apparel, and mailing services. Serving Indianapolis for over 50 years. Dynamark, where strong relationships are built through exceptional service. Call today at 317-328-2555. 13 minutes, 30 seconds before we kick off the second half. Anderson, a shocker. They're up 1-0. We'll be back with the conclusion here on RHIT.TV.
Big play here for Mount Vernon. Ertl looking right, now over the middle, fires, and it's in there for a touchdown. What a throw.
Boy, what a stick, huh?
Side out, back to the middle, and guess what? You want a point on the other side, you go to Taylor Lewis.
Here's Freeman. Has an opening shot. Score!
Stafford around a screen, skip pass, Mays with 3. Mays drive, floater up and in at the horn.
Hand off, and nice hole over the near side, 40, 35, 30, block to the outside, 20, 15, 10, 5, and touchdown. And that's a big one right there, and finally, somebody gets on the board.
Rose Rocketry was founded to put Rose-Hulman on the map for places to go if you're interested in aerospace. Rocketry is a club and a team for anyone interested in any aspect of hobby rocketry, aerospace as a career, or space in general. Rose Rocketry has several different pillars that we try to pursue for all of our members, one of them being the NASA USLI competition. The NASA University Student Launch Initiative is for college students and universities to get experience with high-power rocketry, get experience in creating proposals for NASA. They put us through the same rigorous process as they would all of their contractors. We write proposals, critical design reviews, we write flight readiness reviews, and then we can go and present all of our learnings to the NASA board and they can ask us questions. And having that kind of hands-on experience where you can point to it and say, hey, I want to work at your company. This is what I've done to show that I'm valuable to your company. I've built rockets before. I've written proposals for NASA before. Another part of Rose Rocketry is the research aspect. Because Rose Rocketry's goal is to help students pursue aerospace as a career, we want to try to encourage people in whatever field, in whatever subset of rocketry they are interested in. For example, we have a bunch of students working on what's called Rose Propulsion Laboratory, and we are able to provide them funding, even mentorship. Another aspect would be electric ion propulsion. We have a couple students who are really interested in in-space propulsion specifically. And then there's also SmallSat. Rose SmallSat has the goal of launching a nanosatellite, which is around this big, into orbit within the next 3 to 5 years. And this is a really ambitious project, and it wouldn't be possible without the support of Rose Rocketry. My favorite thing about Rose Rocketry is how open we are. A lot of our people that are the most active are freshmen. And that's fantastic because now these people are learning hands-on engineering skills before they even learn what engineering is.
It's sort of given me a preview of all the engineering that is to come, and it's sort of put me on the fast track of learning mechanical engineering, failure modes, effects, and analysis. That's not something you really learn as a freshman in your academics, but learning it in Rose Rocketry means I can apply those concepts to my current classes, which really helps me excel academically and prepares me for future classes. One of the goals I have after graduation is to be part of the aerospace industry. Rose Rocketry has helped me prepare for that goal in learning the design process of the aerospace industry and learning the documentation requirements. And it's also given me the opportunity to step into a lot of design areas and a lot of manufacturing areas that I haven't been exposed to before. And I think Rose Rocketry provides that really collaborative and friendly atmosphere. We really learn to work with each other, especially across multiple majors. What's special about Rose is the ability to really get involved. If you have that initiative, you can pursue it. And I think that's exemplified by how joining this team as a freshman, I was able to be elected the vice president. I was able to make a real difference on the team. That experience is something that you really may not find at other universities.
Hey, thanks for joining us tonight. We consider it a privilege to have you as one of our listeners and viewers. If you'd like to see more content just like tonight, just hit the donate button. Every dollar that you donate will go right back into more games right here on IndianaSRN. This means more games for you. It's IndianaSRN, where you always have a front row seat.
At first, me and my mom were struggling. I was trying to pay the bills and trying to take care of my mom at the same time. When I first heard that I can get paid for taking care of my mom, I was kind of skeptical because I had been doing it for so many years without pay. That's when I reached out to Passion to Care. I read all the reviews and I saw that they were #1 in the field. Passion to Care has really, really changed my life. Right now, I take care of my mom 24/7 thanks to Passion to Care.
A good engineer, a good mathematician, a good scientist can identify problems.
But in order to be a great scientist or engineer, you've got to have curiosity and you've got to have creativity. And that's what's going to set you apart.
You can't teach curiosity. You just need to encourage your student to be curious. Curious in anything that they do. Curious so that it brings out the innovations, the new ideas.
If there is one thing wrong in your aircraft, you're gonna fail. Finding the right answer and trying again, that's really what dragged me to aerospace. This is a 3D printed airplane which I made over my freshman year at Rose-Hulman that can be radio controlled and flown. I saw other people making amazing stuff on 3D printers, and I thought if I combine that art of 3D printing with engineering, I could make something as complex as an airplane. So I got the idea as a sophomore in high school, and I just tried. I did it. I failed a couple times, but it all changed when I came to Rose-Hulman. I got in touch with Dr. Riley, who is an aerospace and ME professor, who really asked me great questions about the concepts of my design. So pursuing such project as a freshman, it just lets me feel amazing that I have still 3 years to do something much more complex than this, and it will lead me much further.
So my goal is to get involved in space industry and learn about what lies beyond the Earth's horizon. I came across Rose Rocketry. I saw, hey, they're doing some really cool stuff. They're building rockets. I really grew a lot being as part of the team. Last year, through Rose Rocketry, I was able to attend SED Space Vision 2022, which was a student conference for people who want to get involved in space. And I was able to go to Washington, D.C. and talk to so many people within the space industry who come together and say, this is what the next goals for space are. Being at Rose, I was able to hone my engineering skills to push myself to get involved in the field further and learn about all these different opportunities. And I don't think I would have really gotten that at a bigger university.
So I started working on Babcock Ranch 16 years ago. We designed a sustainable community that is also storm resilient, and also it has a ton of flood control associated with it. It has 75 megawatt solar facilities on site, which will cover the entire 18,000 acre community. In September of 2022, we had Hurricane Ian. We had 150 mile per hour sustained winds for about 10 hours and 21 inches of rain. Babcock really had little to no damage at all. We were the only place in a 2-county area that had any electric or any available drinking water that did not need to be boiled. And Rose really prepares you to go out, think outside the box, and problem solve. And I think for any major at Rose-Hulman, that's what you're getting. You have the ability to go out and create something new and innovate and change the way that we live as humans today.
An active athlete looking for enhanced performance, comfort, and recovery? Then Skins is the perfect choice for you. Our revolutionary sports compression product provides better oxygen flow in your muscles, helps reduce fatigue and pain from intense physical activity, allowing athletes to push their boundaries and perform better.
Skins helps keep everything, including you, on track.
So don't wait any longer. Get your Skins now and experience unbeatable performance.
Take your game to the next level with Skins.
They say nice guys don't finish first. So maybe it's time to reconsider what it means to be first.
It's about being your best, but knowing you could be even better.
It's being present, but respectful of history.
Sure you want to make that move?
It's donating something more valuable than money.
It's believing in yourself and something bigger.
It's coming from different families, but treating each other like brothers.
It's not just being a man, it's being a Mason.
Welcome back here on RHIT.TV. A shocker at half. Anderson leads Rose-Hulman 1-0. I'm Sam Cinder. Cruz Martin to my right. Cruz, we couldn't have seen this coming. How did Anderson get their 1-0 lead?
Well, they became very aggressive towards the tail end of that second half. To begin the game, it was all Rose-Hulman, frankly. I mean, they were attacking. They kept the ball, and they're attacking third for a majority of the first third of that first half. Middle of the half, it was more back and forth, ping pong action, I think, like you phrased it. Then Anderson switched it into another gear towards the last 15 minutes or so. Started with that long shot that allowed them to take a corner, and then eventually a ball got loose inside the 18-yard box, and they were able to capitalize on it. And that's been the name of the game so far. Anderson has capitalized, and Rose-Hulman has not.
And on that goal, it was a combination of a slip, this wet surface, the rain. It's still coming down here, and then just chaos ensued. Couple deflections. Cohen Winton, his first goal of the season, found the back of the net. And so turning over to Rose-Hulman, we mentioned this as we went into break at the end of the first half. How do we expect them to respond? What do you expect in these first 5 to 10 minutes of the second half?
Well, I'm expecting them to come out and be extremely aggressive. This team is already aggressive enough as it is, but now you find yourselves in a 1-0 hole with your HCAC championship hopes on the line. They're going to need to get at least one to extend this game, if not another one, in order to continue their postseason, at least in conference play. And again, this is a team that hasn't dropped a conference game all season. They've only allowed goals now in 3 of their total conference games on the season, including tonight. 2 of those games, by the way, have been against this very Anderson team. So Anderson, obviously, a really good matchup against this Rose-Hulman team.
They pose some problems that Rose-Hulman has struggled with. 45 minutes, Anderson looking to hold on, make it to the Heartland Conference Championship game. Rose-Hulman looking to make it back there for the 3rd consecutive year and win their 3rd straight championship.
And Sam, I don't think, as there was a lot of contact right there, I don't think it's so much so if Rose-Hulman scores. I think it's only a matter of when Rose-Hulman will score. Anderson's going to have to be very sharp defensively. They've been great so far tonight. But now they're going to have to step it up a notch because Rose-Hulman's going to do the same thing with their offense.
And how about the physicality? It wasn't particularly physical in the first half. With Rose-Hulman trailing, how physical do you expect them to be?
How much time you got? I think it's going to be extremely physical. I mean, you're already seeing examples of it, especially as this game starts to wind down. If this score holds, I'm going to expect probably a couple of yellows, certainly a numerous number of fouls. Again, you have to be mindful of where you're being physical at. Inside the 18 can be detrimental for either one of these teams because it would allow a PK.
Ryan Shapiro far side and offsides.
That would be the last thing either one of these teams would want to do was give the other a PK, especially with how sparse the shots have been, at least relatively speaking, tonight. The last thing you want to do is give the opposition a free opportunity.
There's some physicality. Harderson trying to get it to Eli Miller. It's too far for him. And Kennedy will clear.
I'm kind of surprised Kennedy didn't pick that one up. Instead, he decides to clear it on his own instead of sending Rose-Hulman's defense back down the field.
I've already noticed an increase in the aggression and intensity from Rose-Hulman. They are trying to bring it.
Yeah, that was to be expected as the ball rolls right in front of us. Thought we were going to go home with the souvenir there for a minute, but yeah, You know, that's what we expected, though. Rose-Hulman to come out and be extremely aggressive. We're only 2 minutes in, Sam, so you can only imagine what the next 43 minutes are going to look like. Don't be surprised when Rose-Hulman gets some opportunities.
Manis inside the 18, cross off an Anderson defender. It's going to be a corner early in the second half for Rose-Hulman.
First opportunity the second half. Rose-Hulman can strike quickly. Here we go.
And check out the pace. Philo was quick to get that. They want to go. Low cross. Cleared for now, and yes, it's cleared. Anderson will try to run. It's off of Harderson. Manis for a second had a chance, and now Harderson has it. Out for a throw.
That Harderson deflection was huge right there. Anderson had an opportunity to flip the field. Instead, Rose-Hulman hangs on to it in their own attacking third.
And again, think about how quickly Harderson threw that ball in. They're trying to catch Anderson off guard, surprise them, out-muscle them here. And that's got to be something that was a coaching point. Hey, we want to go. We have 45 minutes. We're not going to waste a second. And how about that, a penalty inside the box. Anderson cannot believe it. The Rose-Hulman bench erupts. Oh, boy.
And we were just talking about that a couple of moments ago. That was the last thing that anybody wanted to do, and that's what happens when Rose-Hulman comes out and be as aggressive as they are and is as aggressive as they are. Eventually that contact is going to be initiated. And now an opportunity for the Fighting Engineers.
They forced the penalty. Now can they capitalize? It is Fila. Yes! Tied, 1-1. Fila, bottom right corner. It gets past Kennedy. Rose-Hulman, it only took them 3 minutes. They do respond, Cruz.
What did I say? It was only going to be a matter of when they scored, not if they scored. Look how quickly the tides of this game have turned. And the biggest thing to look at now, the body language of the Anderson Ravens. And this is something they can't allow happen. This is what good teams do. Good teams stay the course no matter what's going on. They can't let their body language sag down because they still have 41, 42 minutes to play. They're still in this game. Now you just basically have a 0-0 game on your hands. You know, now you just got to play your game.
And if you're Anderson, you have to have expected a response from Rose-Hulman.
Oh, exactly.
You knew they're 8-0-1 in conference. They've been the best team all season. They were going to respond. You're right. They had to know it was not if, it was when. But now you have to decide, hey, we knew this was coming. What are we going to do about it? As an Anderson defender goes down and a stoppage. This is the physicality that we've talked about. We've already seen a couple examples. The penalty kick, now out come the trainers. We'll go to break, 41 minutes. Rose-Hulman just knotted us up, 1-1 here on RHIT.TV.
Doing things so quickly. A lot of times we know that we need help. So our professors all know us by name.
Basically, everybody knows everybody here.
That one-on-one personal connection you're getting with the faculty, you don't get that a lot of places.
We are not just saying, here, go do this hard project. We are right there with them. We work with them.
The faculty are there for you.
We welcome you back here on RHIT.TV. A penalty kick has tied the score. It was Oliver Fila. He went bottom right, and Cruz, you said it's not if, it's when. The when happened with 42 minutes to go in the second half, real quick. And now we're all new between Rose-Hulman and Anderson.
Yeah, I mean, you could tell immediately that the entire tide of this game has shifted just from the body language. I mean, Rose-Hulman's up. Obviously, they're happy that they tied the game up. You know, their heads are up, their shoulders are back, their chests are out. Meanwhile, you have a couple of subs for Anderson a couple of moments ago who came out. Their heads were down. Obviously, they're going to be disappointed. Don't get me wrong. But if that continues to be a trend that we see, you know, because Anderson, you know, they were in the position that they wanted to be in. You know, now that they're not there, you know, how's that going to affect their headspace and their body language? We mentioned that the most mentally tough team was going to be the winner today. And if that turns out to be Rose-Hulman, then, they were the more mentally tough team.
The man down for Anderson was Dalton Grubb, so real good to see him back on his feet and staying in. Over the course of the season, he's been the primary contributor for the Ravens.
And look how quickly Rose-Hulman tried to go right there. Or I should say Anderson tried to go right there. And that's something we saw towards the tail end of that first half. And it seems as though they're going to try, whenever they have possession, to continue that.
And we saw, before they scored, did Anderson, they had a couple of very long shots. And then the score actually, ironically, was on a chaotic short shot off a couple defenders. That was rare for them to penetrate Rose-Hulman like that. Do we see them go back to more of the long shot, just throw one up, see if it lands, or try to make something happen inside?
Well, I think it opened up things for Anderson, so I think they will eventually return to that if they aren't continuing to do that as of right now. I mean, listen to the energy from the Rose-Hulman bench right now. I mean, you can tell where all the momentum is shifted towards.
And how stark a contrast from 10 minutes remaining in the first half, where you could swap the benches and the noise was the same, but it was Anderson.
It's the complete opposite. And now the hard part for Anderson is going to be siphoning that energy back to your own bench. Obviously, you're on the road. You don't have the benefits of a home crowd with you. So you're going to have to create a little bit of your own magic.
Grubbs. He loses it. Cruz, so you talk about gaining that momentum back on your side if you're Anderson. How do you gain the momentum without a goal?
Well, it's going to have to be, first of all, defensively. And so far, at least since the goal, Anderson has been able to hold their own. I mean, obviously there hasn't been a lot of opportunities, but it's going to have to start defensively. Obviously also your bench. You're going to have a lot of talk off of your bench trying to lift your team up. And then offensively, I think if they can get a couple more offensive opportunities, especially trying to put Rose-Hulman's defense on the ropes, I think that'll get that energy back on their side as well. Although it's going to be really hard, especially with Rose-Hulman, a team who knows how good they are, having that energy already right now.
Foul there. And Anderson will get a set piece.
There's that energy coming from the bench that we were talking about. Not nearly as loud as we heard him in the first half, but still nonetheless.
Well, something I wanted to bring up with you is in the first half, when it was 0-0 for the majority of that first half, we felt like Anderson had the momentum. This is where they wanted the game to be. Yes, both sides now have a goal, but it's the same situation. They are tied with Rose-Hulman. They could view this in a very positive note as that's booted way deep into the box. Biederstedt goes out to get it. He knocks it away, and a foul on Anderson. It'll go the other way.
By the way, Sam, the rain really coming down. Probably as hard as we've seen it, at least during playing time so far. We'll see how this affects the game as well.
And keep in mind, really one of the goals, Anderson's goal, half of that really came on a slip.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And, sometimes the ball bounces your way, sometimes it doesn't. Anderson was able to take advantage of it. Who knows, maybe we'll see another opportunity like that down the line.
Manis, great job keeping it in. Eli Miller looking to cross, trying for Shapiro. Intercepted by the Anderson defensive line. Creek trying to maintain possession.
Anderson with another defensive stop, too. Again, trying to scrape together anything that they can find. If you can string some defensive stops together, you'll be feeling really good about yourself.
There's that physicality. And a card is going to come out. It's a yellow. It's really picked up here in the second half, Cruz. We didn't see really, we knew this was going to happen, but we didn't see it in the first half. Now, as the game winds down and these teams can sense their hopes of playing in a championship game, more of the physicality has come out.
Yeah, and that yellow card, first of the game, I believe, so far tonight, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see one or two more of those as the game proceeds. Both of these teams going to be getting more desperate as time goes on.
We talked about it. Anderson's used to it against Berea, which was very physical. 7 yellow cards came out. Deep into the box, this time Rose-Hulman, and well defended again for now.
And give credit to Anderson's defense for the exception of that PK right there. Their defense has been rock solid in the open field all night long.
Harderson cuts inside. Tried to get it to Miller. Cannot. And now Anderson starting to push. It's Weinman. And Weinman, he's saying it was tipped. Asking for a tip, and yes, he's got the tip. It's Anderson possession. Or no tip. Anderson, they exploded for the wrong reason. They cannot believe there was no tip called, and now the official going to explain it. And a yellow card on the Anderson coaching staff. It's a yellow parade, Cruz.
I don't think that's the yellow parade that anybody wants to be a part of, really. You can obviously tell there's a lot of intensity going on that sideline.
Well, when you're as close as they are and have played as well as they have, you're going to be intense. You can sense it. You can feel it.
And that's one thing coaches like to do, too. They like to fight for their guys because, they're all on the same team. It's a cliche, but, they have each other's backs. And, the players are going to have the coaches' backs, and the coaches are obviously going to have the players' backs. So they're going to fight for what they think that their players deserve. If they think that the referees missed a call, they're going to let it be known. But, of course, the officials also going to let it be known who has the power in that situation.
Notably, that did not look to be on Fridley. Looked to be on assistant coach Derek Spears. And you could say that's a good job on the referees to issue the yellow card, but make it not that the assistant coach is important, but less important.
Exactly. You have to send a message that, this is what we're going to allow or not allow.
Eli Miller into the box. Out comes Kennedy. He blocks it for now. Has to get back to his post. And the shot from Miller wide. Woo, Cruz.
Wow. Give credit to Kennedy coming way off of his line. That was a really risky move right there.
He's done that a couple times now, and it has paid off. Substitution. Once again, it's Matthew Murray coming in. We saw him in the first half.
Yeah, we're going back to that Kennedy stop right there. Just unbelievable. Unbelievable. Coming off of his line, meeting the shot right where it was taken from. He is not shy. He is not shy. There's no question about it.
And outside of that penalty kick, which is exceptionally difficult, he's been outstanding.
PKs are extremely hard to read, especially whenever the surface is as slick as it is tonight. Whenever it's dry, you have a little bit more margin of error. But whenever it's soaking wet like it is right now, that error is taken down extremely thin. Not much you could have done.
Booted downfield for Anderson. And there's Murray getting ahead on it. Hanging around midfield. Everyone's getting ahead on it.
Feels as though the momentum, Sam, has started to even out just a little bit more. Obviously, Rose-Hulman bringing the pressure.
Harderson, interception. Gets it out to Miller. Near side. Into the box. Miller, cross in. And, Shapiro, a golden chance. He couldn't handle it. If he got a foot on it, was surely a goal. Anderson catches a break.
Shapiro was right there. The opportunity lay right in front of him. But again, the margin of error is so slim here tonight that just being out of position by half a foot will put you out of position to potentially give your team a 2-1 lead. That's unfortunately for Shapiro the situation he found himself in. And again, give credit to Anderson's defense as well, closing up the passing lanes and only giving Rose-Hulman a handful of options that they can actually go to in a safe manner.
We thank our sponsors here at RHIT.TV, starting with Officially Human. Our mission is to restore respect to game officials and recognize them as authorities on the fields and courts. Do your part. Practice good sportsmanship. If we don't have officials, we can't play.
Well, I'll tell you what, Sam. The storylines in this game and the way that it is played out have been cinema, to say the least. First of all, you start off with the platform that we're on with the HCAC championship berth on the line. Then you factor in the conditions, and then obviously the way that the game has played out. I mean, this is going to be a really fun last 33 minutes.
It sure will. And there's Shapiro. He's been a menace in those passing lanes. He's created opportunity for Rose-Hulman. They go outside with it. Cross in, handled well. Kennedy able to get it on a bounce.
Now notice, though, this is important. So far in the second half, a 5-0 shot discrepancy in favor of Rose-Hulman. This is how we saw the game begin during that first third of the first half. So far, the first third of the second half has played out just the same, although I highly doubt that we'll see what we saw earlier today, where the middle third is a lot less eventful, and then Anderson is the aggressor. I think it's going to be back and forth like we've seen for the rest of the way.
The less and less time you have, the more pressure you feel to do more. And that's what we saw happen at the end of the first half, and we've already seen it here in the second. Caleb Opoku comes in for Anderson, substitution. And out comes Ryan McClure.
Seems to be a little bit shaken up. I mean, obviously walking off the field under his own power, but grabbing down near that groin area and potentially might have pulled something or taken a hit right there.
Long throw in, and Biederstedt, he grasps it. But those long throw-ins, Cruz, those are the chaotic plays that could swing the game. We saw already one happen where Anderson scored. And that's a bit of a wild throw from Biederstedt, almost a turnover, but
it almost reminded me of an air hockey puck. Heads up, that's coming towards us.
Oh, almost hit the roof. We see it behind us.
You couldn't see where that ball ended up, but it probably landed about, I would say, less than 8 feet behind us on the other side of this plexiglass.
If we didn't have this cover, and I'm very fortunate for the cover because of the rain, but if we didn't have the cover, I was going to field that like a punt returner.
I'm sure you would have taken off with it too, huh?
Yeah. Would have streaked the field.
I'm sure the dress shirt probably wouldn't have been in great shape after that, though, huh?
Well, hey, I got the rain jacket on. Can't even see the dress shirt.
You were smarter than me. You actually remembered to bring a rain jacket today. I was not as fortunate to remember one. Our producer, Chuck Levine, also asking, if I'm just not a big jacket guy. Usually I am. He also reminds me that he had to loan me one a week ago whenever it was extremely cold here. And, Chuck, I might have to make a couple more investments this winter. By the way, big shout out to Chuck Levine for getting us back on the air earlier today as well, along with some of the staff here at Rose-Hulman.
Huge shout out.
We went off the air due to a equipment failure. We were able to get back up on the air, so give him a lot of credit.
And we thank you for sticking with us here on RHIT.TV through that technical difficulty. We have a heck of a game, so you got a good one. 30 minutes to go in the second half. Squared away at 1 apiece. And a throw-in for Rose-Hulman. Headed away. Peter Jacob trying to maintain possession. And a bit of a shove there, but Anderson's able to run with it on the far sideline.
It's important to note that Ryan McClure, who just came out of the game grabbing his groin, he actually came right in front of us and asked for ice for his groin. So his status is going to be something to keep an eye on going forward. We don't know if we'll see a return from McClure or not.
There's a Poku near side, back to him. And kicked out of play. Throw in. Anderson with a chance here. We quickly thank our sponsor, IndianaSRN Sports Page. Wall-to-wall sports news every day, high school, college, pro sports, we have it all. Check out IndianaSRN.org and click on the Sports Page tab. Stay informed with IndianaSRN Sports Page. Long throw in. Anderson doesn't get all the way there. Back out. Grubbs momentarily kept it in the Anderson offensive third, but offsides. And will swing back the other way.
I was going to say before that throw in, it was imperative for Anderson to try to get a shot, to try to bring that momentum back to their side, but they weren't able to do so. And so now they're going to have to try to get it back defensively and work their way back up and try to get another opportunity.
They have it here, well controlled. That's Weinman. And a battle there near midfield. Rose-Hulman will kick it out, a throw in, and here we go, the middle portion of the second half. It's what we saw in the first. Anderson starting to get more possession of the ball, a little more control, forcing the action.
Yeah, it was a little bit strange because it felt like Rose-Hulman was firing on all cylinders, but it seems as though their steam has started to run out a little bit, not just visibly, but just from the fact that Anderson's had this amount of opportunities in the last couple of minutes.
Long throw, shoots right back to the far sideline. And now bounces out. Manis giving chase, and a foul. It's going Rose-Hulman's way.
I would have been shocked if there wasn't something called there. Almost surprised that it wasn't a yellow because there was a lot of grabbing of the jerseys between both parties right there, at least from what I could tell. That game staying physical, though, Sam, just like we anticipated.
Peterstedt looking to kick it far, almost into the box. Fila, among many Rose-Hulman men trying to gather. They have it in the box, throw in, and Kennedy, he sweeps up another Cruz.
He had trouble coming down the middle if he didn't get a hand on that one. Not that they could have caught up to it, but nonetheless, Kennedy showing off the mitts once again, especially with the slick conditions. Very impressive.
Here at RHIT.TV, we think Make a Difference. Help us put more student athletes on TV by logging on to IndianaSRN.org, ad directing your donation to specific schools, or hit the donate button. More games, more opportunity for our kids. Indiana SRN, where you always have a front row seat. Manis with some room. Nice cross. Ryan Shapiro in the box, will slow down for just a second. Spins, high archer, it's over the crossbar. Goal kick for Kennedy.
Yeah, not a lot Shapiro could have done right there. Again, slick surface. He has to try to control the ball, then control himself, and then try to make a move. And just a lot of things to try to do, especially in these soggy conditions. Now the rain's starting to come down hard once again. It seems as though it's been a wave of rain, time in and time out. It'll get heavy for about 5 minutes, 10 minutes or so. Then we get about 10 minutes of lighter rain. Now we're back on the heavy side of things. Just in time for the Rose-Hulman bench unit to get out and stay warm just in case their numbers are called.
You think that was timed to the heavy rain?
I think so, probably.
A mental battle there?
That's part of it, though. Everything is 90% mental, 10% physical, and if you don't have a strong mind, you're not going to be successful, and that holds true today.
Slip by Manis, but gets it to Eli Miller. How about Landon Kangas on the far side, making some moves, but it's out. A corner for Rose-Hulman.
That's huge, too. It allows Rose-Hulman to set something up. Now, Anderson's defense has been terrific all night long. But again, like we saw in the first half with Anderson's score, all it takes is one good bounce to change the entire narrative of the ball game.
Here we go, sharp archer, and Kennedy up in the air. He's able to get it, tipped it up. A sharp header. He's been unbelievable. Has kept Anderson in this one, Cruz.
Not the woodwork again. That's the second time we've seen that already tonight. Again, just a margin of inches separating Rose-Hulman from taking the lead. But again, Kennedy and company on the defensive end of the field for Anderson. Continuing to be a stone wall that's nearly been impenetrable all night long, at least in the open field. Give them a lot of credit.
Fila trying to get it to Ryan Shapiro. And Shapiro, how about that hustle, is able to regain control. And now Rose-Hulman will slow down. Cruz, this is nearly identical to how the first half played out. Anderson has yet to have a shot in this second half.
Yeah, they're getting outshot right now, 7-0 here since the second half has began. Yet it feels as though, just like the first half, the middle half of the second half has stagnated a little bit. It's been a lot more back and forth, a lot more opportunities for Anderson, not really in shots. It's also worth mentioning, I should say, Anderson didn't have their first shot in this game until under the 15-minute mark of the first half. And so, Anderson definitely not done yet offensively. It would at least be safe to assume. Although so far in the second half, it's been all Rose-Hulman offensively.
Manis, nearly a takeaway, and booted back into the Rose-Hulman third.
About those two Titans meeting right at the ball.
Couple of Rams butting heads.
No give from either side either. It's not every day you see something like that. I was thinking about giving a physics lesson on what just happened there, but
ooh, almost a miscommunication. Defender trying to head it over to Bieterstedt, the goalie, almost went over his head, and Opoku was right there for Anderson. It would have been a present for him.
That would have been very, very dangerous for Rose-Hulman. It was already scary enough to see the miscommunication, but if that would have gotten away, Anderson would have had an opportunity to put a shot on goal with an empty net, essentially speaking. Obviously, with the wet conditions, no guarantee.
Fila trying to track it down, and Anderson will play it out for a throw-in.
What did I tell you, Sam, going into? I think we was during the halftime break. I said that as we hit the 20-minute mark that Rose-Hulman would more than likely have tied this game up by the time the 20-minute mark came around. Now, obviously, it came a little bit earlier, but now we're in for the finish that we were all hoping for. Tie game, 20 minutes to go.
And a corner. Rose-Hulman will have a shot here, just under 20 minutes, as you said. They've controlled possession in the second half. They've outshot Anderson by 6. Corner. Fila will take it. It's a low liner. And Anderson gets ahead on it, pops it up in the air. And disaster avoided again as they let it go out for a throw. And Anderson will possess. RHID.TV thanks Family Source Insurance. Pat Cherry is your independent agent representing Ohio Mutual Insurance. Call him today for coverage tomorrow, 317-894-7000. And a miscue. No call, though. Anderson dropped the ball as he was going to throw it in. Instead, he's able to re-throw it in. But that pass off target, looking for Weinman, and now Rose-Hulman will push the pace. And that one sailed. They were looking for Grubbs. You can't get there. So Cruz, 18 minutes, we're really dwindling down in the second half. How aggressive do you become while also understanding that that could leave you vulnerable on the other side?
You're right. It's a fine balance. I think that's for both of these teams to figure out because, to be honest with you, I couldn't tell you what will swing the pendulum too far to one way or the other. But at the same time, obviously you're going to have to be more aggressive than you typically would be because, the opposition is in the same position you're in. Tie ball game with now approaching 15 minutes to go, and your HCAC title hopes on the line. Obviously doesn't win the championship today, but gives you an opportunity to win that championship this upcoming weekend. So, you're gonna have to find that balance though, because you're aggressive one way. Like you said, you can leave yourself vulnerable on the other side.
Well, what's different in this match than a regular season one is you can't draw. Someone has to win and go to the championship.
That's right.
So we may not be done in 17 minutes, and these teams know that.
I think that's what makes this so exciting, though. We're going to see a winner one way or another. Whether it's through overtime or even PKs. I mean, imagine how dramatic that would be, but obviously still plenty of time before we get to a situation like that. But if you're here for drama, I mean, this is the right place to be.
Kennedy boots it away. Manis trying to handle. And now a fight for it. And it's Kangas who will come out of the pack. Trying to get it to Shapiro. It's too long. And the pendulum swings back in Anderson's direction. It feels like the intensity has matched the rain. As Rose-Hulman pushes, Shapiro cuts in, now in the box, and a shot nearly had a chance for Eli Miller, but once again can't find him, it's wide. Kennedy commanding it back there.
Half a step out of position. How many times have we said that so far tonight for Rose-Hulman? A couple of times with Ryan Shapiro. That time it was Eli Miller. Again, the margin of error. I'm just going to keep honing in on that. Very slim. We've seen a couple of crossbar hits, a couple of link touches. It's just been that kind of night for both of these teams.
We think Aspen Creek Grill. Why go anywhere else for delicious food? If you're looking for amazing fresh food and servers that genuinely care about service, you've got to try Aspen Creek Grill. It's a battle for it. Miller and Weinman fighting, and Shapiro gets it back to Miller. They have numbers. Eli Miller. There's a shot. It's wide right.
That was a really tough window for Miller to try to squeak that in there. Again, he's running to his left, so he's going to have to bend it back to his right. Had a defender off to his left as well. Kicked it with his left foot, so it's going to bend right, and that's exactly what happened. Still, nonetheless, you put pressure on that defensive back line for Anderson. Continue to increase that shot discrepancy as well.
Ryan Shapiro, another chance for Rose-Hulman. They've dominated the past 5 minutes, an opportunity. A bouncer, it could be chaos. It's wide again. Was deflected. It will stay with the Fighting Engineers. Corner coming. Manis had a tremendous match. He was the energy guy for Rose-Hulman. He comes out. Salinas comes in. The graduate student, a guy that brings a lot of veteran presence.
Hitters those is an offside on a corner.
It's pretty rare.
That's what Chuck Levine was just telling me.
It's not common you see that, but this is not a common game.
That's exactly right. This is anything but an ordinary game. Hopefully we'll get anything but an ordinary finish as well.
We're hoping for it. And how often have we seen this? Shapiro working the far sideline. They've had plenty of chances. He has it inside the box. And the cross isn't to anyone in particular. Anderson will boot it away.
Yeah, they kick right into no man's land. This could be trouble for Rose-Hulman.
Some pressure applied by Anderson, trying to force a turnover. Anything that can go their way. Eli Miller back to Harderson. Harderson, nice move, goes outside. Cross in, right to Kennedy.
How terrific has he been? He has been on the dot all night long. You know, obviously you talk about the PK, but again, there's not a whole lot he could have done in that situation.
He's been laser focused all over everything, has come out of goal, charged quite a few, has read everything right today. It's about the closest the ball has come to us today. Little roller and a throw in for Anderson. It will be Weinman.
At least this one came in with a little less velocity than that last one that landed behind us.
Here's a chance. Weinman gets it in, and look at that. As soon as an Anderson forward touches the ball, about 4 Rose-Hulman defenders swarm him.
It definitely wasn't going to be anything easy right there for the Ravens inside the 18. Best they probably could have hoped for was a penalty. But nonetheless, the Ravens will get it back. Now this is where, this is just a little bit after where we saw Anderson start to take over towards the tail end of that first half. Could we see something similar play out? Listen to that rain.
Long throw. That's out for another throw. The rain creating the drama, you could say.
Well, it certainly makes things a lot more cinematic.
Like, that's what I was going to say, like a scene in a movie. As Biederstedt, one balance handles that, urging his team to push forward. Just under 11 minutes remaining in this second half. We're tied 1-1. Anderson and Rose-Hulman, a chance to go to the Heartland Conference Championship game on Saturday. Anderson without a shot in the second half. They scored first. Then Rose-Hulman knotted us up. With 3 minutes into the second half, it was on a penalty kick by Oliver Fila. A foul, and Anderson with a chance, a set piece. Grubbs will take it.
If you're Anderson, it's imperative you at least get a shot off in this situation. You have yet to record one this half.
Crossed into the box. Handled very nicely. Salinas looking to push. There's Shapiro. He's able to handle it. Nice pass back to Salinas, and looks like he mishit that. Kennedy will roll it out.
No, under 10 minutes to go now, Sam. This is where the butterflies start to come into effect. You know the game's coming down to the wire.
And this is when I'll ask you again, we talk about how heavily dependent on freshman Rose-Hulman is. 10 minutes to go, down to the wire. Nearly a chance for Salinas, but over his head. And Kennedy gets there. Do the freshmen have a freshman moment, is what I'm asking you. Is this a situation where you could see it's too big for someone?
There's always that potential, especially on a stage like this. But, you know, at the same time, and I said this, I believe, in the pregame, you know, if there's any group of underclassmen who can handle a moment like this, it would more than likely be this Rose-Hulman team. But again, I'm not going to rule it out because, you know, these guys haven't been on a stage like this before, in particular, especially with the rain and the slick conditions, as well as the physicality. You know, at this point, Sam, I won't rule anything out.
The freshmen have played like vets this season. They've been the better team over the regular season. They're looking to prove they are over the final 8 minutes, 35 seconds. It will be a throw-in for Anderson.
And I said it on the last set piece for this Anderson team. Have to get a shot here, somehow, some way.
Well defended again. Salinas is the guy coming out. It's Weinman who has it for now. Peter Jacob. And Rose-Hulman handles that spot again. Eli Miller off his chest. Can't quite handle it. And Kennedy will boot it back to the middle of the field. We saw how important just one shot was for Anderson in the first half. All the shots for Rose-Hulman, but one big one for Anderson proved to be the difference. They're into the box here. With numbers. And a long shot, it's deflected. Popped up in the air, far side of the box and offside. Another chance down the drain for the Ravens. And we continue to go back and forth now, just 7 minutes remaining in the second half.
Anderson definitely starting to be a little bit more aggressive here as the game is starting to wind down, but they are nearly getting the number of opportunities that they had in the first half. Only one shot this entire half compared to 4 in the first.
Peter Jacob trying to find Salinas. Eli Miller. A nice job, Opoku. Regains it for the Ravens. They work, have something cooking here for Opoku. And he's not able to cross, but Anderson retains. Poked out by a Rose-Hulman defender, another throw-in on that far sideline.
Anderson starting to get opportunities piling up, but statistically speaking, only one shot to show for it.
They've had a lot of these throws, Cruz, and typically what's happened is they high arcing long throw and Rose-Hulman out jumps them, just heads it out. Do you look for them to do something different here?
Playing it short seems like the wise thing to do, but that's not what they're going to do.
And it's a chaotic one off the crossbar and in! Anderson has taken the lead again, a chaotic sequence. How? 5:52 remaining, and the Ravens of Anderson have taken the lead. One of those throws, and it finally goes Anderson's way. We see it off the crossbar and in. Rose-Hulman cannot believe it. Bieterstedt on the ground. And check out the celebration of the Anderson bench. This is the moment they've played for. And you hear them shouting, back to work. It's not over, 5:52. But Anderson can sense victory, having to hold on for just under 6 minutes. It took Rose-Hulman just 3 minutes to respond when the second half started. They'll have more than that here, Cruz. They'll have to give it everything. A wild throw-in. And somehow, some way, the rain, the chaos, it found the back of the net.
Cinema, Sam Cinder, cinema. How incredible was that sequence right there as it Rose-Hulman players being tended to. Listen to this Anderson bench.
It was Jack Harris, the freshman. His second goal of the year. Freshman defender was up on the throw-in in the Rose-Hulman defensive third. What a moment for him. Cruz, we talked about it after Anderson scored that first goal. It's how do you respond? The game is not over. You can't act like it's over. They have to respond some way as we thank another one of our sponsors, Clean Slate. Find your future in the cloud. We're a technology consulting firm specializing in custom-built, modern applications and products that deliver greater agility, faster speed to innovation, and the resiliency to handle whatever the future throws your way. Call us today, 866-885-3249. And Wheeler Mission. For over 125 years, Wheeler Mission has been a pillar in the Indianapolis community, providing help, hope, and healing to people in need. Can you volunteer today? 317-686-6239. 5:40 to go, and Rose-Hulman, they bring back the freshman star Cameron Hanna. They need a jolt. They need it now.
And it's now or never for Rose-Hulman. And, man, how terrific has this game been, just objectively speaking, the back and forth. You know, the way this game has played out. I mean, Rose-Hulman has outshot Anderson 14-6, but Anderson, 2 of those 6 shots have found their way into the net. And, you know, obviously the conditions, the drama, the entailments of what this game means. Obviously the perfect season in the conference slate for Rose-Hulman.
And we talked about it at the top. If you're an underdog like Anderson is, and that's just objectively speaking, Anderson was an underdog in this matchup. What do underdogs need? They need chaos to ensue. It starts with the rain, and then it starts with those 2 wacky plays off the foot and up on the first goal from Winton, and the second one from Jack Harris on a throw-in that hit the crossbar and went in. It's 2 wacky plays, and they have more craziness, more chaos than what Rose-Hulman has been able to ensue today.
And sometimes the ball just bounces your way too, and that's the way that it's gone tonight. You know, while Rose-Hulman has had the majority of opportunities, Anderson's been able to cash in, maybe not through just pure skill, but also a luck of the bounce, which sometimes you need in order to pull off an upset like that, and Anderson's got a couple of them tonight. Not just offensively, but defensively as well, with a couple off the bar.
Cameron Hanna. Rose-Hulman will push, and it's out. A corner. And they hustle to get it off. Fila will kick it. Clock dwindling down. Off an Anderson defender, it finds Fila in that corner. Another cross. And it's handled well by Anderson and booted away. You can't ask anything more from the Ravens. Kangas will slide it back in. There's still time, Cruz. You just have to stay calm if you're Rose-Hulman.
You're going to have to start putting a barrage of shots up, though. You have to put pressure on Anderson, try to get them out of position somehow.
Salinas, another cross. And it's kicked out. Another corner for Rose-Hulman. 3 minutes to go.
You know, Sam, I would say for Rose-Hulman, play it short and try to get some shots up. But the last time I said that, Anderson scored, so let's see what happens.
Trying for the header. Pohl is the big man. And who else? It's Kennedy. He gathers, and will do some time management there, falling down. I call it time management, but it's what you have to do in this type of game, Cruz.
And just listen to the bench of Anderson. They're off to our left right now. You can hear them through our mics. Just unbelievable passion and energy. They know how close they are.
And what's the coaching word? It's don't let anyone get behind you. Stay strong defensively, almost prevent-like from a football standpoint.
Time dwindling down now for Rose-Hulman. You have to think that the next opportunity that they'll have may be their last, especially with the amount of time Anderson's taken off.
Anderson, long kick on the set piece. It will bounce out. It's a throw. We're under 2 minutes remaining now. Matthew Murray back in for the Ravens.
It's really smart to get these substitutions in every so often as well to slow down the game. Anderson in control of possession. They can take as much time as they want on this throw-in.
Murray will be the man to throw it in. And it's out once again. More time will come off, but Rose-Hulman has it now. Throw in Eli Miller. We're under a minute 30. And it's out, it's off of Fighting Engineer. And how about the Anderson bench? They can sense what's happening. A minute 15 and they have the ball. Rose-Hulman trying to get something going.
1 minute remaining.
There's the hero. Jack Harris, he'll kick it out. It's a goal kick, but now we're under a minute, 50 seconds, and it's going to be less than that by the time Bieterstedt kicks this off. Cameron Hanna trying to head it. And it's out of play. They're looking for Dylan Traver. It's a throw-in. We're now at 35 seconds. .30 seconds. Long throw. There's some chaos, but the ball's going to pop up. Headed again. Traver ahead. Can't get much on it. It's going to pop out. 15 seconds. Kruer.
10, 9, 8, 7.
5 seconds. There's a chance, and oh, who has it? It's Kennedy. Braden Kennedy. The clock has expired. Anderson has upset Rose-Hulman. They go to the championship in the Heartland Conference. An absolute stunner. 2-1. They led 1-0 at half. Rose-Hulman responded, Cruz, but then with 5 minutes remaining, it's Anderson on a chaotic sequence. They go up 2-1, and they hold on.
Wow. That is all you can say. Wow. What a terrific matchup. Anderson with the upset, you mentioned it. Only Rose-Hulman's second loss on their home turf this season, their first conference loss of the year as well. You know what? You know, you come into the game and say Rose-Hulman was a better team on paper, but there's a reason why they play the games. And that was exactly why tonight. Rose-Hulman outshot Anderson, but Anderson outscored Rose-Hulman where it mattered on the scoreboard 2-1. You know, just give credit to the resilience of this Ravens team too.
How poetic. Rose-Hulman outshot Anderson. They doubled their shots 14-7, but Anderson, they doubled Rose-Hulman in the goal column 2-1. Let's thank our sponsors one more time, starting with Reynolds Farm Equipment, Passion to Care, Boilermaker Local 374. Reynolds Farm Equipment, Passion to Care, Boilermakers Local 374, Wheeler Mission, Bertner Electric, Morales Group, and IndianaSRN Sports Page. And Drumstick Dash. We thank our sponsors here on RHIT.TV. An absolute thriller. Anderson 2-1. The circumstances could not have been better, Cruz. A rainy, crazy game, and they pull it out. Final thoughts.
This is why we play the game. This is why we play the game. A terrific night. Congratulations to Anderson on a terrific upset, and we'll see where Rose-Hulman ends up in the tournament.
Anderson will play in the championship game. Let's thank our crew, Nick Lewis on cameras, Chuck Levine, our producer. To my right, my partner, Cruz Martin. I'm Sam Cinder. An epic Anderson victory, the final 2-1 here on RHIT.TV.